All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and doing it in real time for a few real people out here, just like you and just like me. So I just got through listening to Circling from Above by the band Styx, the current version of the band Styx. And if you followed me for a while, you know that I like to give these guys a hard time, mostly because of how they've treated Dennis DeYoung. Um, but I'm probably going to be eating a lot of crow in this video. So, start bringing the crow in. Make sure you cook it because I'm not eating it raw. So, Circling from Above by the band Styx, which is available to order now, is a very impressive album. Holy crap, Batman. it's, when it's good. And I'm just going to give you my takes on songs. And I don't know, this might not make sense to you until you actually go and listen to it. It's already on YouTube. So you can go and listen to it if you just plug in Styx Circling from Above. Um, this feels like a concept album. I'm not sure if it is or it isn't. The songs, a couple of observations I made. The songs are a bit short. So what's good about it is there's not a lot of wasted stuff going on. 3, 4 minute songs. The obvious influences include, but not limited to, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Queen, ELP, and The Who. And I'll talk about the song where they imitate The Who because that's my favorite song on the record. Now, the tracks themselves have elements of pop and prog and rock. They're muscular. And for those of you who are worried about losing your testosterone, you won't because this album kind of kicks you in the butt. And it goes from start to finish that way. Tommy and JY have not only gotten their way musically speaking, but adding Gowan and this guy Will Evankovic, or is it Will Evankovich? I'm not sure. So if I butchered that, I'm sure I'll get all kinds of hate. It's either Evankovic or Evankovich. All right. He's really given the band a surprising jolt. This is a very cohesive album. I mean, the instrumentation on this is just spectacular. And it's very analog from start to finish. The intro to the album is an instrumental, which then goes into some vocal parts, something that maybe Kansas would do, just to throw in another name here, at the beginning of an album, or maybe not Kansas, but oftentimes you get these introductions on more proggy things, and this is one of those. It does sound very Beatles and very Queen. Build and Destroy, which had been out for a while, I think is a very Pink Floydian track. Reminds me a lot of something that David Gilmour would do. They have a song called Michigan. This is kind of like the Beatles and maybe the Knack without the new wave vibe, replaced by a proggy thing instead. Really good song. It's like power pop. King of Love with a JY vocal, which is really cool. I get on JY all the time, but his vocal here works with Tommy. And this is probably the most Styx sounding track on this album. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. There's a song called It's Clear, which is another power progressive pop song. Great drums. Background vocals are really impressive. Synth parts are fantastic. They add a lot of depth to the track. You're going to love the instrumentation on this thing. This is how they should record albums, okay? Just putting it out there. Now, there's a song called Forgive. Now, ironically, this is a band that I think has trouble forgiving certain people, but I just want, it's a little dig. It's a little dig. I'm not going to keep going with it. But it's a really great song. It's an acoustic song. And again, lots of depth. And it's just I don't know, more Pink Floyd-ish, I guess. Everybody Raise a Glass could be a single, should be a single off of this. Super heavy Queen and ELO influence on the track. Background vocals. This is a Gowan song, and it's really good. I mean, there's not a bad song on this album. Blue Eyed Raven was really interesting. I wrote acoustic guitar madness, almost something Otmar Liebert would do with a violin, and of course with vocals. And by the way, Tommy, this totally makes up for Girls with Guns. All right, you're forgiven. Um, Nobody knows what I'm saying there. Girls with Guns was a song by Tommy Shaw way back in the early 1980s. She Knows. Now these are the song titles. You can go listen to them yourself. Very Beatles, very Beatles. Love the drums. Will Evankovic on vocals sounds a bit like Gowan, so I got a bit confused with the vocals, but Will is a very impressive singer. And he's in the band now, which makes sense to me. In fact, I will make some comments about Will toward the end here. Ease Your Mind is this piano interlude, which sets up the next song. The Things You Said, which sounds like a song by the Beatles, right? That's the name of the song, The Things You Said. Not The Things You Said Today, just The Things You Said. Beatles with some ELP and Queen. I believe it's Tommy singing here. I could be wrong about all this. This is a quick take, all right? Keyboards and guitars on this are very impressive. The outro is fantastic. This is classic rock, folks. This is classic rock the way it should be. Will classic rock play this album? I'm probably, after this review, I'm going to talk to my friends over at Modern Retro Radio because they need to be playing pretty much every song on this album. I would tell them to do that. We Lost the Wheel Again. This is my favorite song on the album. This sounds so much like The Who. It's almost scary. Like early 70s Who music. The drums are excellent. It's got that Pete Townsend acoustic guitar playing, and again, Will Evankovic on vocals, and he's terrific. He is really good imitating Roger. I think Gowan's on it too, so it's like this Pete and Roger thing going on with Gowan and Evankovic. I would release that as a single, even though it sounds a lot like The Who, and people are going to say, "Hey, you guys are copying The Who." I say, I don't really care. The song is that good. The last track is called Only You Can Decide. And this is very Pink Floydian, very David Gilmour Pink Floydian sounding with Tommy. I'll tell you what, there are all kinds of other twists and turns, like just tempo changes, which are really cool. Like chord progressions that you don't expect. Background vocals coming in at certain moments, big synth sounds that will really impress you. Here's the only downside, and it's not necessarily a downside, but Styx really did have a sound. I would say their sound was probably at its peak from, say, 1976, 77 up until maybe like 82. I know, obviously before Roboto, before Kilroy, right? Because everyone says that's when things went downhill. For those of you who like the more 70s sounding Styx music, I would say that the band has almost lost their musical identity here, even though they've put out this really impressive set of new material. I mean, this is some of the best music I've heard in a long time. Just being honest, you know? I know I get branded as the guy who hates the current version of Styx. I don't necessarily hate the current version of Styx, all right? I've said this over and over again. I wish they would reunite with Dennis DeYoung, do some gigs. And then Dennis even said, hey, I'll go and do my thing. You guys do your thing. Dennis is taking care of his wife these days, so maybe that's a non-issue at this point. I'm really impressed by this album, but did they kind of lose their sound by tapping into all of these other things that were big classic rock influences, probably not only to them, but to so many people? One thing I'll say too, now they're out on the road with Kevin Cronin, what's left of REO Speedwagon, and Don Felder. Now, what they should be doing is going out there with an up-and-coming proggy type band to open up for them. If I were the promoter, this is how I would handle it. And they should play a number of these songs in concert because these are really good songs. I'd like to hear if they can pull this off in a live setting. People should hear these songs. Classic rock radio. Will you guys, like, honest to goodness classic rock stations, not stations who think Soundgarden is classic rock, all right? Because this here is classic rock. Will you guys play something like this? I mean, you'll get all kinds of reaction to this if you actually start playing it. I don't know if they will. And this is the sad part of all this, because like many other bands, these guys are going out there and they're playing the same tired old songs. I mean, I like those songs. I mean, Fooling Yourself. They're gonna have to play Fooling Yourself, right? Which, it's a great song. But with that, type of album under your belt now, this type of album, you should be springing this on people, even people that have come to just hear the songs that they know. And if you toured with maybe an up-and-coming proggy sounding band, these guys, actually, Styx should probably go out there with the band Yes, if you want to go old school. And people, I think, would have different expectations of what they're going to hear. And you don't have to play Mr. Roboto if you don't want to play it. You know what I mean? You don't, even though the merch guy says you have to play it because people just want to hear the hits. This is the struggle for a band that is still doing really creative stuff. They put this out there, and it's like a tree falling in the forest. Is anyone going to hear it? I mean, if you don't get notifications about things, you don't know about it. And these days, you don't have any other connection to the music. I mean, you have to go digging and looking. And unless you're kind of like a music geek like I am, which I'm less of a music geek than I used to be, you're probably not even going to know that these guys have new stuff out there. Now, yes, they have a merch table. I'm sure they're going to be selling lots of CDs. But see, this type of music needs to be heard, and not just building your own playlist and so forth. This is stuff that should get on the radio. Now, the radio isn't as important as it used to be, but it would be a sign that, hey, even the industry is recognizing how good this is. And other than the band kind of losing their musical identity to some extent, this is a brilliant album. It's brilliant from start to finish. And it's probably the best album I've heard in the year 2025 thus far. I mean, every song is a little creative vignette, a little masterpiece. And if you just, the song they put out as a single, Build and Destroy, that might be one of the weaker tracks on this record. I mean, this thing just cooks from start to finish. And I would put out that Who song because we lost the wheel again. I would put that out as a single. Make the people on classic rock stations avoid that song. Let them try to avoid it. Say, hey, guys, are you going to play this? You should play this. Play it next to a Styx song or a Who song. People will love that song if they actually hear it and it's played a few times over and over. I mean, we used to play songs over and over again. That's how you get used to the song, and that's how people get into the song. So again, this album gets a 10 out of 10. 10 Circling from Above gets a 10 out of 10. And yes, I've just eaten a whole big plate of crow, and it's all right. I'm cool with it.